Iowa and Illinois, they played on Saturday night. Illinois 95, Iowa 85. Kent, you tell me, do you fully support just taking out your entire team when they aren't playing the way you want them to play, putting in all the backups and just letting the backups basically show the starters what should have been happening the entire game for like the last 10 minutes of the game? Do you fully support that?
I've never been, because I've coached before, not obviously not in the Big Ten, but I've never been a big fan of that. I think that you could probably get your message across just as well with a full timeout and saying like, hey guys, what are we doing here? Or maybe taking out like the best player and talking to him for a minute while the game is continuing. But I've never been a big fan of it, but I've also seen it work before. I just wouldn't recommend doing it for a long period of time, because I think that the guys that are in, if they do start to come back a little bit, now they're salty when they all get taken back out. And then you got a bunch of bench guys that are like, why'd we get taken out? We were the ones that got us back in this game. So then you got some, that's just how I've seen it happen before, like just being on benches. But I'm not a big fan of it. I think you can get your message across different ways. So I don't know. Did you support it?
I was kind of both ways on it, because at the end of the day, you won the game because of that. The Illinois starters were not going to win you the game. Yeah. Iowa was taking it to them, and they were going to win. Like, the way it was going. So I think like in the short term, yes, you won the game. I support it from that standpoint. But also it's like, did Illinois need to win that game? And we're kind of getting to the dicey part here where it's like, no, they didn't need to. So it's like, do you think they would have learned more by losing, or do you think this teaches them more? Because I'm with you, like at a certain point, like you also have the bench players who are there now. They're like, hey, we're a really, we're a team with a lot of depth. So we should be using our depth. What happens next game when Brad Underwood only plays 7 players?
Right. Exactly.
Like, what's Nick Moretti? What is he going to think when he's not in the game? It's like, dude, I just had a fantastic game for you. Basically won you the game again. I mean, not basically won you the game, but played a really, really good game, was a big part of why you won that game. And you're going to take me out? Like, yeah. I know, I see exactly what you're saying.
I agree with that for sure. But I will say that going back to your previous point, you always want to play to win the game. We just talked about that with Maryland and Kevin Willard last week, I believe it was, when he wasn't trying to extend the game, which he did the very next game. I swear he was listening to our show after that loss. But I always say you got to try to go and get the win, though. I never subscribe to the like a loss teaches you more. Like winning is always better. It's always better for morale, I think. So I think they did the right thing by obviously trying to win the game. Like you should always be trying to win the game. But obviously, like you said, it worked out. So it was good for Illinois on that front.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, like this Illinois team, we just got done talking last week about how Brad Underwood basically lost them that game against Penn State. Now, did the players deserve, some of the criticism? Yes, they obviously deserve criticism. Coleman Hawkins in particular for missing the free throws at the end of the game, and then also fouling the 3-point shooter. However, whatever Brad Underwood said to Coleman Hawkins this week in practice or whatever it was, like I like to think that he just like brought Coleman Hawkins into his office and just like repeatedly screamed it at him until he finally was like, yes, coach, I promise I'll play better. Because
I know exactly what he did. Here's what he did. He sat him down and he went to Twitter and he showed him all the Purdue fans that were posting the Joker laughing meme or GIF, it's called. And he was like, look at this. Coleman, look at this. Is this okay with you? Because it's not okay with me. And then Coleman was like, this is not okay with me. And then he went out and scored 30 points. But impressive game for him. Here's what I'm a little bit worried about Illinois going into March, though. Their last 5 games, Iowa, 85 points given up. Penn State, 90 points given up and lost. Maryland, 80 points given up. Michigan, 68 points given up, which honestly, that's too many against Michigan even. And then Michigan State, another loss. They gave up 88 points. They're giving up over 80 points a game, close to 90 points a game in their last 5 games. And that's not what you want to be doing defensively, especially when you got a guy like Coleman Hawkins who's so good defensively. And some other guys, like even Terrence Shannon Jr., he's really good defensive guards. So I want to see more from them on that side of the basketball going into March for me to really believe in them potentially winning a national championship, which is what Illinois fans are talking about right now. Like, we can go to the Final Four, we can make things happen. You're not going to be able to do that if you're giving up 85 points to Iowa, 90 points to Penn State. No offense to Penn State or Iowa, but if you're Illinois, you shouldn't be giving up that many points to them. And 88 points to Michigan State, who just lost to Ohio State. Again, not trying to offend any of these teams, but we're talking about Illinois being like the upper class of this conference, and they're not getting stops against teams that they should be really getting stops against.
Yeah.
I don't know. Are you worried about that?
No, I am. That was the title of the last episode before they lost to Penn State, and I had to change it, was, does Illinois have a championship level defense? And I'm not just talking about the NCAA tournament. I'm talking about the Big Ten tournament. Do they have a defense where they're going to make it to the Big Ten championship game? Because in March, all you need is one team that can hit every single shot and make those things happen. Now, fortunately for Illinois, they are not a shooting reliant team like Nebraska is. That's one of the reasons why Nebraska struggles away from home, is because they don't have the excitement from the home crowd and things like that that get them into the game where they're able to shoot as well. For Illinois, I mean, Terrence Shannon Jr., man, he's a bowling ball. He gets down in there and he puts his head down, drives to the hoop, and just gets to the bucket. And you have other guys like that who also can do those things. Quincy Guerrier had a better time getting to the bucket. Some of these other guys were able to, Marcus Thomas, they were able to do that. And you have Coleman Hawkins, who is essentially your 5, who are stretching people out to the perimeter, that's making that mismatch for other people. So Illinois does have an offense that is sustainable. There's a reason why they scored 95, 89, 85, 97, 80, 87 and 87 all the games before that. I mean, the one before that was 70 against Indiana, which that's an outlier because the rest of them have been 80 and 90 the rest of the year. I mean, so Illinois has the consistent offense. It's just that defense where you're right. You're giving up 90 points to Penn State without their leading scorer. You're giving up 80 points to Maryland, where their only offense is Jameer Young and Julian Reese. I mean, you're giving up 80 points to them, 88 to Michigan State, who has no down low presence. I mean, Xavier Booker was better. We'll talk about him here later on, but I mean, no down low presence. Like, you have got to be better on defense if you want to make some type of run. Can they win 2 or 3 games in a row just by offense? They can, but Illinois is starting to turn into the concern that I've had with Iowa every single year getting into the tournament, where it's like, yes, you have an amazing score and you have an amazing offense, but at the end of the day, you don't have the defense to be able to make it deep in the tournament.
And March is not the time that defenses magically show up either. It's the exact opposite. It's when you run into like a streaky guard who's going to make every single 3-pointer. And that's why they call it March Madness, because it's so much fun when you get to play against guys like that or watch guys like that. And that's what concerns me going into the big dance. Like, I don't think the Big Ten tournament is like really that important. To them, maybe because they're already going to be a higher seed. And, obviously they're going to want to win 1 or 2 games. I don't think they're worried about winning the Big Ten tournament, but their seeding is going to be extremely important in the NCAA tournament, because like I just said, if they get up against somebody that can knock down some shots and, if they're streaky at all, then Illinois is going to have trouble stopping them, and they're probably going to lose again. So it's just tough to see that, because they are such a talented team offensively. You'd like to see them be able to lock in a little bit better on the other side so that we can have more confidence in them going into March.
I totally agree. We have a few comments here. JR, that is true. I think it's talking about the defense there, but aren't there going to be times in the tournament where you might not get to 70 points on offense, but can they hold teams under 60? That's my point. Like, I don't think Illinois can hold tournament teams to under 60. I'm trying to look for what games they've held a team under 60 this season. Colgate, December 17th.
Colgate's tough,
at
dude.
Rutgers on December 2nd. Western Illinois. Eastern Illinois. That's it. There's 4 teams that they've held under 60 this season. And none of those teams are tournament teams.
Right.
So, like, I mean, I guess one of them could win their conference championship or whatever. Colgate, possibly, I guess. I don't know. But I don't know Colgate's record. I know they were good last year, but anyway,
I don't know either. I was just kidding when I said they were tough. I don't really know if they're tough or not.
I think they were good last year, but yeah, I mean, it's a tough tough situation. Dylan, hey JR, big fan. Thank you, Dylan. I keep forgetting to send you a Purdue hat. Yes, please do. I will proudly wear a Purdue hat on the podcast. I will do anything to attach myself to Zach Edey and Braden Smith, who are probably going to make it deep into the tournament this year. I think they will, but if they don't, I might not wear the hat very often. We'll see. I'll wear it during Big Ten tournament week when they win the Big Ten tournament.
That'd be great. Do you think that Dylan knows how big of a fan of Braden Smith I am? Because I don't feel like enough Purdue fans are talking about how big of a fan I am and how I've been singing his praises on this show.
Yeah. He definitely doesn't know. He probably should send you a Braden Smith jersey.
That'd be great. If he could go to the pop-up NIL store and shake hands with Julia Edey and all the other guys that are hanging out in there and get me a signed Braden Smith shirt, I would love to wear that. That'd be great.
Yeah, I fully agree. Oh, here we go. Michael coming in saving us. Colgate is 20-9. So, yeah, see, Colgate, good team. They'll probably have a good chance of winning their conference tournament. So, thanks for listening to the Big Ten Huddle. Please do like and subscribe. We appreciate that. If this was your first time listening, we are the Big Ten Huddle. We cover all things Big Ten football and basketball. We have a long episode every Sunday, Tuesday, and Wednesday night, all at 9 o'clock. So come in, check us out, get in the chat, let us know what you're thinking. We would love to have you join us and learn more about the Big Ten.